I'll do a little on the camera so we have sticks.
Cool.
Sweet.
Oh, I'm recording.
Oh, you are? Okay.
It was the excitement behind it. It was like... Hey, what's up, man?
Hey, how's it going?
That's going so well, dude. I'm Aaron, this is Aaron, and you're listening to Double A's.
Batteries not included.
Yeah.
We did it. There's the tag. That's all we needed was the tag.
This is so exciting.
I'm very excited. I've been wanting to do this for a long time, and what a better person to do with, because we haven't really done anything together before. So like this is
brother. Tell me
awesome.
about it. No. I'll say it. My name is Aaron Taylor Johnson, and I have the exact same name as Aaron Taylor Johnson. You may know him from Kick-Ass, Quicksilver, Savages. There's one movie where he played John Lennon, Nowhere Boy.
Soon to be Kraven the Hunter.
Soon to be Kraven the Hunter. And it's funny that I bring these films up because what are we talking about today, Aaron?
Today we're discussing our top 3 favorite superheroes.
That's a segue, baby.
Very tight segue. Yeah, before we get into today's topics, how you doing? How's your day going? How's life?
It's going okay. Work has gotten busier because of the holiday season.
Yes.
And so lately it's been kicking my butt.
Kick ass?
Yeah. Kick ass, actually. It's not the good kick ass. It's been kicking my ass.
Oh.
Up and down the street. How's your day been?
Nice. Good. Babysat the nephew today.
Yes.
He's starting to take steps now, so that's exciting. He'll take one step and then fall on his ass.
But he tried.
Right, exactly.
It's the effort.
100%. He also said shit today.
Good.
So 2 milestones in one day. He's doing great.
Did you tell the parents about it?
Not his parents. Told my parents.
Fun.
So
Are you like
we don't know where he got it from.
Are you just letting them be like, they'll hear it?
They'll figure it out. Because sometimes it is because what he also does is whenever he farts, my mom has taught him his grandma has taught him to go shoo like that, and so it kind of mixes in. Either way, he's correct.
That's so funny.
It's very funny.
He farts and it just goes shoo. I would pay money for that.
Oh,
dude,
yeah.
I saw him on your story today, and that's a cute little kid.
Yeah, a very cute kid.
Yeah.
He says thanks. So his words exclusively mama, dada, baba, bye bye, shit, and thanks.
He has shit in there to mix it up.
Yeah. he really keeps you on your toes.
He's a cool baby. He's
Absolutely.
like, I know what'll pull him in, and then I'll keep him there with baba and dada.
Exactly.
And then as soon as they lose attention, shit.
What's that movie where it's like say mama, mother.
Mother. Son of the Mask, dude.
Oh, you're right. I haven't seen that one.
Yeah.
I think as this podcast unfolds, you'll find out that there are a lot of classics that I have not seen. And I think that's something we can address at some point. And we can kind of work through as we're going through this whole thing.
We've got to do a commentary or review
together
with it. Because
love that.
I would love to sit through that film with you.
Let's do it.
Because we'll talk about it.
I need to see The Mask as well. That's another one.
Get out of here.
Yeah.
Okay, so episode 2 is going to be Aaron Gaines finally gets his shit together and watches the Mask and Son of the Mask. We'll do a double feature.
Because my 2 favorite actors are Jim Carrey and Jamie Kennedy. So is Jamie Kennedy in that?
Yep.
Okay, I get him and Seth Green mixed up all the time.
So funny. I've never once in my life mix those 2 people up, and I love that you do.
I did it for a Scream as well. Whenever I watched Scream for the first time, I was like, "Oh, Seth Green." And you're next to me going, "No,
Here's the thing.
that is Jamie Kennedy."
Here's the thing. Think about it. In another universe, Seth Green was
a better actor.
Watch it.
Oh yeah, he's great. He's great. I love Seth Green. I know you're listening. Adoring fan. I love your work. You're amazing as Patrick in Scooby-Doo 2 Monsters Unleashed. You really sold in that alley.
Shout out to Without a Paddle, because my buddy Chris loved that movie. Anyway, no, so in another universe, Seth Green played what's his name? Jamie. Played Jamie in Scream. I'm sure.
Oh, yeah. I thought you were talking about an actual movie, and I was like,
You're like,
sure.
Never heard of it. No, I bet you in another universe.
Maybe.
And I think that would have been cool.
Sweet. All right. So the subject of today, top 3 favorite superheroes.
Top 3 favorite superheroes. No, yeah, this was hard. Like when we were talking about what we wanted to talk about for our first episode, I thought of it because I've done before like top 3 films and top 3 TV shows at the time, because I switched those answers so many times randomly. So I was like, what's a good top 3 we could do? And I was like, superheroes. And I think the reason I said that is because I knew I would have trouble picking my 3rd. Yeah. Because I'd never thought of it more past 2.
Exactly. Like you kind of have you have your main, obviously. But then sorry, that came halfway unplugged and started sparking.
Good.
Yeah, I mean
we almost caught on fire. What a first episode.
I thought it would be the candle before the plug.
I thought it would be the 2 open flames next to the nail polish remover. Before the plug behind me, the surge protector. Anyway.
Oh, but yeah, you have your main.
Yeah.
But then it's just like it's like trying to choose like a favorite child, because you don't want to leave anybody out.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. And and it comes down to like, I guess the top 2 are my favorite simply because I've said them the most. But I started thinking about it and I was like, I love so many different superheroes.
That's fair.
And that's why it was hard. Yeah. Yeah. So I feel that.
It was hard for me for a similar reason, but also there's one different reason, which I can't get into that now because it will spoil my number 1.
Fair.
But once we get to my number 1, I will elaborate on why it was difficult to try to choose.
You had trouble choosing your number 1?
No. My number 1 was a definite, but as far as like thinking about other superheroes, yeah.
Okay, for sure. Would you like to go first, or would you like me to go first?
Okay. You want to flip a coin?
Flip a coin.
Do you have a coin?
I'm so mad. I knew you would say that. I was like, this.
Let's. I have my wallet on me. Let me get my credit card number out of view.
Doesn't.
I don't want you seeing my vaccine card either. On the
other side of the table.
On the other side of the table. Sweet. We'll flip that.
Okay.
Okay. Yes.
You're gonna call it.
Yes.
But what are you? But if you win, what does that mean?
If I
what do you want to happen?
Heads is me, tails is you. Whoever it lands on goes first.
Tails is me?
Yes.
Me.
Nice.
Let's do it. Okay. Okay. God. Okay. Well, I'm starting with my number 3, and this is the one that I didn't get to finish my notes for, but I'll ramble.
Okay.
My number 3, this is the one I had the hardest time deciding with, and I landed on Robin.
Cool.
But like, not any specific.
I like that.
The idea of Robin.
Yes.
Is my favorite thing. So to start off with, first of all, what a concept.
Right.
These are orphaned children. Okay, sorry. 2 orphaned children. And then like some others, one's a detective, one's the spawn of a villain, and then the newest one is Batman's son, which we'll get into. But just the idea of these children being a part of a superhero team and being just as good and sometimes better than Batman is insane for me to think about, because when you think of DC, you think of heroes, you might think of Superman, you might think of Batman. And then for people that know Batman, like I would say such a great superhero. And then these kids are able to learn from that great superhero and sometimes become better than that great superhero in certain ways. And I just love that idea.
For sure.
And also getting into that, the fact that at the root of it, it's like a family dynamic, like an actual family dynamic, because he always adopts these children.
I mean, an orphan's going to adopt like others.
Yeah. And so the fact that the idea of Robin is founded on family is so wonderful, because there's already that bond that you're trying to build. And then through that, they discover the bond of like being a superhero and being the sidekick to Batman. And I think that's just really awesome. I would say my favorite Robin.
I feel like this might be where a toss-up probably came in. Like,
yes.
If you're gonna say what I think you're gonna say, then I could see where a toss-up maybe came in at number 3.
I think my favorite Robin is between Dick Grayson and Jason Todd.
For sure.
It just has to be. Yeah. And very close third is Damian Wayne, just because of the fact that he's Bruce's son.
Yeah, like actual
spoilers.
Oh, what?
Sorry, spoilers. If you're listening to this, I feel like you would know. Anyway, yeah. So it's hard, but like Dick Grayson, he's the OG. He was a circus performer. Cute. Right. Parents die. Not so cute.
Every reaction has a opposing and opposite reaction.
Yang. And then, from not only the comics, but from Robin in the live action, which holds a dear place in my heart. There's just something about his story that always gets me, that he's like this kid who had everything in his family, and then just like Bruce Wayne, his parents were murdered.
Yeah.
And the fact that they find solace in each other through that is incredible. Yeah, and then he grows up to be Nightwing, which is a plus.
Finds his own hero in the psychic that he's been like this whole life, and like finding that independence and becoming just not a spawn, but what's the word I'm looking for?
Spawn.
I guess just finding that independence and just just starting his own chapter in his own life, as opposed to being in Batman's shadow,
but like not shadow,
right?
And then like after that becomes Batman,
right?
For a bit, or I don't know. I haven't read all the comics. Don't judge me.
Yeah, that's why I'm like I'm contributing, but like getting into like Robin and stuff is not like I don't know a lot about that, so I'm just here to.
Fine. While we're here, I'll clear the air. I don't read a lot of comics.
Same.
Okay, guilty.
I want to.
There's
just so many.
There's so many,
and I want to get like the right collections,
the right ones, the right order.
Yes.
What do I read first?
Exactly.
What do I need to read last?
Yes. Like I know a lot of facts about heroes. I don't know a lot of like in-depth family and biographical history of characters.
Yes.
Yes.
That.
Yeah.
I was gonna say maybe this will spark us to start reading some more comics, and we can talk about it on here.
That's perfect.
If we wanted.
Yeah, I think that'd be a good thing to do. Like, I think it's a good, like, you can build up with us. If this makes you want to start comics as well, then learn with us. We'll go on together.
Learn with us.
Join the Wayne family. It's a great place to be.
Sometimes, not all the time. Speaking of which, in particularly when you're Jason Todd, doesn't work out too well for you in the Batman Wayne family. For those that don't know, Jason Todd was the second Robin to come into the storyline. Similar to Batman, he was orphaned, parents were murdered. He later becomes a more aggressive Robin.
Yes.
And starts being like, nah, we just need to like bust shit up. And Batman's like, hey, pump the brakes. Like, there's a rule to this thing. There's like an order. And then long story short, later on grows up, gets kidnapped by the Joker, and the Joker murders him. And then on top of that, he's brought back to life in various ways, goes insane and turns into a villain. And then anti-hero. And then hero? I think is the progression.
I think so too, because Red Hood. Correct?
Red Hood.
Yes.
Red Hood.
Okay.
And that's also a big reason why I love him, is Red Hood.
Yeah.
The whole Red Hood storyline is chef's kiss. Did the animated DC film of the Red Hood? One of my favorites.
I need to check it out.
It's like probably top 3 of those. But yeah, I love those Robins. I love the uniform. Uniform's great. Iconic.
Yes.
Even the like first edition spandex tidy whities.
Yeah. Whitey tighties.
It's weird, but it's iconic.
Yeah.
It's weird.
It's different. It's
different.
A different
like
time. It's not like that anymore.
No, we don't do that. We don't put little boys in underwear. But and then as he adapts, it gets the full suit. One of my favorites is I think specifically like the one that they have in Young Justice is like the all mostly red,
yes,
with the black and the combat boots, and then like just the yellow R.
Mint.
Yes,
very
mint,
good.
exactly.
Mint.
Good suits, good storylines, and I like that I haven't talked about this much, but like the fact that there are multiple people taking up this mantle.
Yes.
And it's still Robin, and yet none of them are the same. They all are unique in their own way. So I really love that.
Sweet.
I think that's my little button.
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, I started delving into the Batman animated series just a couple months ago.
Nice.
Just prepping for a cosplay soon. And
okay.
And I haven't gotten into I hadn't got into the Robin episodes yet. And so like I'm basically like all this Batman stuff is just kind of coming in new to me as well. And so I'm just like, okay, sweet. I appreciate, because I've seen some movies. It's just I feel like the animated series, I prefer series. There's a whole other like topic to get to, but like series to movies, there are a lot of things to prefer in a series because of how lengthy comic runs can be. And so you can get more of that into a TV series as opposed to a 2.5 hour long movie.
Funny story.
Yes.
This weekend, I finally got to show my mom Loki. Or not Loki. Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Yes.
We're working on getting her caught up in the MCU because she loves it.
Yeah.
She loved WandaVision, and then we started Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and she was like, so why aren't they making these movies? Why are they TV shows? And I was like, there's so much story that happens that I think everyone would prefer not smashing it into one film.
Yes, because that's been so many problems.
So many problems already in the past 10 years.
Yeah.
People have been that way. They're like, oh, so they're just dead and that's done with that now? Cool. You know? And so I was like trying to explain to her that same thing. I was like, there's just too much to fit in, but they need some episodes. And I get that for sure. Sweet. But anyway, so you're getting into the Robin stuff now.
Yeah, so getting into the Robin stuff, just wanting to learn more about like these superheroes and just superheroes and the villains, the anti-heroes, and just there's so much to get into with it. And so like I feel like I'm doing myself a disservice as a fan because there's so much media I have not gotten into yet fair. About it. So it's like cool. Like this is, and I think this whole process of this podcast and everything will, encourage me to go that way. I burped for anybody who didn't hear that. Yeah,
I hope it does. I just Robin has always held a special place in my heart.
Yeah. Now, the number 3, did you have to? Were you trying to decide between like Nightwing and Red Hood and stuff like that? Actually,
no. I knew off the bat I wanted to do Umbrella, Robin, and then talk about the various Robins. It just came down to like I never have thought about my third favorite, and I started like just going through all the ones that I really like. And then I had to like dwindle it down. And I think it came to, I guess I'll do my honorable mention now since we're on the third one.
Okay.
I think it came down to Robin, Wolverine, and Daredevil.
Solid choices all the way around.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, this is just really hard to choose.
Yeah.
And I think I just ended up doing like, I went to a website and did a random generator thing. And I put them in and then it chose Robin for me. And I was like, okay, cool.
Sweet. Yeah. Robin's solid choice.
It's a solid choice. I like it.
Yeah.
What's your number 3,
all
sir?
Right. Number 3. This one is maybe surprising, but Starlight from The Boys. Yeah. Absolutely.
Bravo, sir.
Thanks.
Bravo. I didn't even think of that.
Yeah, it was actually a last minute change too, because I moved my number 3 that I've been thinking about down to honorable mentions because of the impact that Starlight had when I started thinking about The Boys. And I was thinking of who I could do, because I thought of The Boys. I was like, who can I do from The Boys? Because I mean, the heroes are not really the heroes in that whole ordeal.
But
Starlight is the one. I think that's something that really drew me to her, was the fact that she is the hero among what she thought and everybody thinks are heroes. Mm-hmm. And let's see, I think just the statement that The Boys as a whole, like those of you who are not familiar with The Boys, is basically just showing what the bad sides of a world full of superheroes can be. It gets into like liabilities of whenever they fuck shit up.
It makes it corporate.
It makes it corporate. And like, honestly, I think this is probably the most realistic take of how superheroes might be if they were in the real world.
Yeah.
I think they would be commercialized. They would be like sold on products and everything. Like, what? Yeah.
It's through a very, I don't want to say sadistic, but like,
I almost said meta.
It's through a very critical lens.
Yes.
Of what superheroes are.
For sure. But no, I think that the way that the whole series addresses a lot of things that the MCU, well, I don't want to call it the MCU, but like superhero movies as of to this day, they're getting better now. Everything's progressing now.
Yeah.
But as far as it calling out, and I think Starlight's a very good symbol for that. Like what word am I looking for? I wrote down empowerment, but that's not exactly the word I'm looking for right now. But when it comes to like women that are superheroes, like whenever Black Widow first started out,
yes.
It was all about let's make sure she looks good, let's make sure that she is going to be eye candy for the viewers.
Yeah.
Whereas the Black Widow we have now, that's not the main focus. That's not the focus at all. Like the focus is her as a hero, but with the boys, they are not afraid to call out something like that. They are not afraid to say that. There
are certain problems.
Yes, it's I don't want to say it's a parody of the superhero media that we have gotten thus far, but it is basically. I think that's where the word meta comes in. It's very like meta when it comes to talking about already established. Yes, that's the better word. That's a much better word. And I think just Starlight being the symbol of that, and her kind of being this breakthrough in that, because with Maeve, you kind of have like. The one that's been there for a long time is this is just how things go. And then you have the driving force of, no, things are changing. Like we need to actually represent ourselves. We need to actually do this. And then you see that Maeve is actually holding these same ideas. And so just it unfolding. We're at season 2 right now, but like as it continues to unfold, it's just something I'm excited to see as it continues on.
Absolutely.
And her development as well. I love the backstory of her just the growing up in a very conservative Christian household, and her mom, spoiler alert for anybody who hasn't seen The Boys, her mom basically making her become a superhero. Like
a dance mom.
Exactly. It's a dance mom, but dance mom, pageant mom. And so it's getting in real world elements that you don't even really think of when you think of superhero media. It just makes it so real just all the way around.
Absolutely.
And so whenever she comes in and speaks at that youth group, saying that it's okay to actually be yourself. It's okay to like girls. It's okay to like guys. It's okay to not represent as what you were at one time. And I think just how unapologetically she's just going head first into all that as she develops. I think it's something that I really not relate to, but something I really appreciate of her. And so
for sure.
Yeah. I love that she sees the best in people for who they are as well. Like Huey not being a soup, as they call them, but still being drawn to him. The fact that like she can confide in him and like, it's like, all this shit's going on right now. And he's just like, yeah, cool. And so,
he's like, he's Lois Lane and she's
there. It is. Thank you for getting me there.
Yeah.
I have ideas. I'm not good with words.
Fair. No, we're there. I get you. Yes. I haven't even really thought about that. Absolutely.
Sweet. All right.
It's really cool.
Glad I was. You know what? This is why
this is it.
We're working off each other. You're bringing out the best in me. Thank you, Huey, for being. I think that was just one that's very easily relatable to. And I think also she grew up in the South, and so being able to relate to like that evangelical Christian Bible Belt area as well is like something that kind of resonates with a lot of people like in this area, you know. So
for sure. Because like with Superman, maybe you and I can relate to him because he lives in a farm area,
right?
And in a small town,
exactly,
a small town,
and
we can relate to that. But this character of Starlight specifically is from a Christian Southern home.
Exactly,
and so that's really
just
cool.
Automatically is like, you know what,
you're like, I'm with you.
I connect.
You're like, I get it. Yeah. It's really cool. I love that you chose Starlight. That's really cool.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
Do you want to do your honorable mentions or do you want
Honorable mention? Yeah, we can do an honorable mention. Yeah, I'll do this one just because this was not based off of much research at all. This was just a character from a show I watched as a kid, and I appreciated it. Hot Girl from Justice League.
Yep. Okay. Sweet.
That's it.
And that's fair.
Enough said.
And then enough said. Fair. Yeah. All right. Well, then we can get into my number 2. And my number 2, no surprise, is Batman. I fucking love Batman. And I'm gonna save my biggest point for the end.
Okay.
And you might not think this is the biggest point. I should say the most controversial point that I have. Okay. So to start off with, what a character. A billionaire orphan, sad, tragic, and yet you're like, fuck you. Because you have billions of dollars and you're just able to turn yourself into a superhero. That's cool.
You just build boomerangs out of metal.
You just sit in your cave and you just cut out your CDs to look like batarangs and you chuck them at your tree until you grow up and you have money to actually make those batarangs.
For sport.
That's what I
do.
do.
Oh, for sport.
That's what I used to cut up CDs. And
okay.
Yeah. That's what I used to do. I was like, batarang. Anyway. So I think that's a really cool character off the bat. And then when you get into who Batman and Bruce Wayne are, like, what a complex character.
Right.
In my opinion. Yes, he has his faults. A lot of them, sure, depends on who you ask. But I think it's safe to at least say that he's a very unique and complex character. Simply because of, I don't know, I guess one of my biggest points about it would be just his psychosis in general. Just always dwelling from the murder of his family and then carrying the idea of family with him into his future, trying to create his own.
Right.
And then the toils of that. Like, what a guy.
Absolutely.
And then I think my favorite quality of him, which may be different than what I just said, or maybe I'm just confused. My favorite quality of him is his determination. Mm-hmm. There are a lot of qualities that he has, and there are a lot of qualities that other superheroes have. But specifically for Batman, I think his determination is big with me, just because he never stops. Never stops. Never stop, never stopping.
Never stop, never stopping. That's the tagline for this whole show. Never stop, never stopping.
He just keeps going no matter what happens. Key point in the Bane storyline, where Bane breaks him in half and he just comes back from that. Like, what? Insane. Characters that I love of the Batman storyline. Alfred. Yes. What a guy. What a champ. My favorite thing about Alfred is that in a storyline, he got Superman's powers and he beat the shit out of Superman because Bruce Wayne got hurt and like nearly killed. Wow. And he just beat the shit out of Superman and was like, you let this happen.
That's amazing.
And I think that's the coolest thing because yes, exactly.
And
that's
they couldn't have done this in Batman vs. Superman.
Tell me about
to see Jeremy Irons just beat the shit out of
Tell me about
Cavill would be, or Cavill?
Cavill. Cruella DeVille. So yeah, I love Alfred. He's a great guy, very loyal. He's the father figure of Batman. Just what a wonderful man. Number 2, Robin. Already talked about it.
Yeah.
We'll move on. Joker. One of the best, if not, in my opinion, the best villain ever created. I won't dwell on this because I would love to talk about villains in another
I've already talked about
episode for sure. Okay. But just terrifying, unique, iconic. What a staple. He's stuck around for so long, getting mostly better, sometimes worse.
Yeah.
In the film adaptation. And like, just there's so many ways you can do them, and yet all of them are like, oh, that's the Joker. That's the Joker.
Yes.
Love that. His parents, I think, are some of the best characters in the storyline. as dead people, and then also from what they talk about of when they were alive. Big thing that I think is the most unique is that in the more recent storylines of Batman, Court of Owls, they are involved with that society and like an underground Illuminati society of Gotham that like they control the chaos and control what happens. Because for the longest, like just for my mind exploded for the audio, for audio listeners. But like the fact that they were already such a vehicle for him in the storylines prior from his creation, the fact that they're deceased and yet they continue to influence and haunt Bruce. Wow, that's a powerful character. To be dead and doing that. And then in the new storyline, adding that in where he looked up to them and sought, like he taught himself to be who he was from them, and then to learn that they're a part of the society is like, oh, what a wrench.
Insane.
What a wrench to throw into that. I think that's so cool and it makes me giddy. And then last but not least, the character in a different storyline variation of Batman, Terry McGinnis, or Batman Beyond. The Batman.
Yes. I Batman Beyond was my shit.
Batman Beyond. I owned it, but I owned it on burned DVDs that my uncle got me.
Nice.
But I had all of it, and I loved that.
What's
show.
the statute of limitations on
the statute? Hey, really quick, for legal trouble. It's on. I mean, I watched it on HBO Max, and it's so great.
It doesn't.
Okay, good. Yeah. I watched it on HBO Max, and it's such a good show. Yeah. But the fact that he's able to be Batman, he's Batman, but it's in the future, and it's a different person, but he's still parading as it's Batman. And I think that's really cool that he just gets the same name, but he's a different guy. And then, so those are some of my favorite main characters. And then villain-wise, Joker, great.
Yes.
Harley Quinn, fucking great.
Wonderful.
Mr. Freeze, for me, fucking great. And I'll talk about it real quick. I know.
Nice to see.
Very nice to see. The Ice Age. Messed up. But I love Mr. Freeze for the fact of how tragic his story is.
Yes.
The romance and the tragedy of his whole backstory, phenomenal.
100%. Like Mr. Freeze is I think he's one of the earlier villains in the animated series. I think they just introduce all of the villains and then just expound later.
Yes.
And so Mr. Freeze, like whenever I saw his backstory, I had no idea.
So sad.
No idea. Because I had like Arnold Schwarzenegger in mind, and I'm just like, oh man. And so when I saw it, it's like, I want you to win, kind of.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's the thing is that like when they did it in Batman and Robin, it was the same story, but it sucked.
Yeah.
And you're like, how it sucked so bad that you lost how important the connection between him and his ill wife are. Yeah. And you're like,
don't give Arnold Schwarzenegger quips.
Don't give him quips.
Not in that when he's already painted blue and he has a dome on. Do not give him quips.
He's just a chrome blue dome head guy. And he's just prancing around in his skates.
He don't gotta be quippy.
He don't gotta be quippy. That's all I'm saying. Okay, moving on from that. Bane. Terrifying. Scarecrow. Terrifying.
They're all so scary.
So scary.
So there's different, like, no wonder Batman is always so fucked up. Like, you're fighting scarecrows and clowns.
It's so dark.
Ice cubes.
And penguins, which is my last one.
Sorry.
Penguin. Great characters. And then, again, a big thing for me that you'll pick up on, the costumes, the suits. To go from the films, Nolan suit, incredible.
Yes.
Such a good design.
Translates so well.
Such a good design. They nailed it for that kind of film.
Right.
The Batman, the one that's coming out next year. I think it looks great.
Nailed it.
The ears are a little weird for me.
Yeah.
They're like little needles.
Just it's a little too needle.
A little too thin.
They didn't need to do anything as quite profound as Michael Keaton's Batman. But just that middle ground would have been like Affleck's ears would have been nice.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like that's too it's like too subtle, and that makes it not subtle at all.
Right.
Yeah. But everything else, fucking love it.
Yes.
Honestly, I'll talk about it. I love the Val Kilmer suit, specifically the second one that he gets at the end. Where it's
is that the one with the nipples?
Maybe.
Okay.
I disregard the nipples. I know they're there, but that's not what I'm thinking of. It's the shape, the form, and the color.
Okay.
The color is like this deep, almost blue charcoal.
Yeah.
And then just like a silver emblem, a little silver accent on the ears. It's just
very stealth-like.
Yes.
Kind of, yeah.
Wait, I want to make sure I'm saying this right. Oh, okay. It's more of like a solid, like deep blue into the silver.
Yeah, with the big
gradient.
bat symbol that's just kind of there. Like it's just a blink and you'll miss it kind of thing.
And I don't know. Something about the colors. I know it's not practical.
Yeah.
But something about the colors and the artisticness of it for me, I'm like, it's pretty.
Yeah, I dig it.
It's a pretty suit. And then, I'll say it, George Clooney's second suit. This is the one I was thinking of. The one that had the deep blue and then the silver. Iconic.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Does Robin become Nightwing in this movie? It's been a long time since. No? Okay.
No, he's still Robin.
Okay.
But he talks about going solo, but he ends up just being all three of them. But like, I think that's a really cool thing because these movies are already campy. Mm-hmm. And so this is probably a nod to some of those like strange 80s designs of Batman that were out there that I'll show pictures of. Mm-hmm. But I don't know. I just think it's really cool. And they went for it. Yeah. And I think it kind of kills it.
Yeah. Like, I like it.
I think specifically also since it's still the 90s. I'm like, 100%. It's just the campiest. And
remembering these movies, like just looking at these suits, the movies needed these suits. And you're 100% correct.
It's like what else were they going to do? Obviously. They had to flash. They had to go flashy. And then going into the comic book variations, I love the Batman Beyond suit. What a great suit. Just all black.
Yes.
White eyes. Even on his face, it's just like one thing and then just a red bat symbol and a cape.
So good.
It's like a jet. Great. And then to finish off with that, the Rebirth suit of the comics. It's a yellow belt and then a like yellow outline.
Oh, I see.
On the bat symbol. And it like looks more... It kind of looks like the way they did Affleck's suit, where it's like the pieces and the fabric, but it still looks like not like nylon. It doesn't look like spandex.
Exactly.
I think that's a really
this is my first time seeing this suit, I believe, and that is a very nice.
It's nice. It's just a very simple way to do it.
Yeah, I love the subtleness of everything because like Batman already has such a subtle suit. I mean, just the one symbol, not too many colors.
Nope.
And so being able to just kind of like expand on that, just like adding those little accents here and there is just, and the fact that they can do so much with so little at the same time that's amazing. Yeah,
and like to go from the circular yellow and black bat symbol to a black symbol with like a little yellow outline. Mm-hmm. I'm like, good.
That's great.
And then my biggest point about all this, and I won't be too long with it.
Yeah, you're totally good.
Take up time. Is that I love Batman because he made himself a superhero.
Yes.
And also just technically is a superhero. Because while you can be like, oh, he's just a guy, he doesn't have powers. Oh yeah, he's gone through so much in his storyline. Like, he's not normal.
No, not at all.
In any sense. Mm-mm. And so that's enough to be like, you're a superhero.
Let him have this.
Let him have it. He built himself into this. He has so much money also that lends itself to it. But at the core of it, it's just like, he is more than a man somehow. Because he could not have endured all that if he wasn't.
100%.
And I think that's the greatest thing. And that's my button.
Yeah. Wow. Man. Wow.
Wow.
Honestly,
wow.
Like that's great. That's awesome. No, I'm being genuine when I say this. It sounds so. The video people get it. Audio people not so much. just going to that, like, again, I'm just now becoming familiar with more like the in detail of Batman, of what we see other than like the mainstream of what it is.
Gotcha.
So yeah, there's a lot of just qualities within his character that you appreciate. Like I appreciate that you appreciate it.
Oh, it's not one of those where I was like, I love this character.
Mm-hmm.
I need to learn everything about him right now.
Yeah.
It's just because I love this character and I have come across like on like my Instagram feed or like in cinema or in comics, like whatever I've come across, it just stays in there.
Yes.
Because I'm like, oh,
for sure.
Such a good character. And I can't wait to learn even more about him in the future. And if we start reading the comics,
yeah, I think if we've proved anything so far, we need to read the comics.
Yeah,
especially me, like just kind of sitting here, like, oh wow, yeah,
fair, yeah. So we might as well like get more information on what we're talking about.
Exactly,
for sure.
That'd be awesome,
for sure. All right, what's your number 2?
All right, number 2, we have Captain America.
Yeah.
Now, Captain America as a whole, I appreciate the character as a whole. Sam Wilson, Bucky Barnes, Steve Rogers. When I'm speaking about Captain America right now, I am mainly talking about the one I'm most familiar with is Steve Rogers. So just to let that,
nice clarity.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, I'm a very big fan of the underdog. I love the underdog in any sort of media. Whoever the underdog is, I'm rooting for them.
Absolutely.
No matter what. And so the fact that you have Steve Rogers growing up already such a great person, and like I'm not going to compare him to I'll compare him to Batman in the sense of having getting these resources of it, because he gets the super soldier serum, and an already great person has now become a very powerful person physically as well as emotionally, so he has that to back up what is going on. And just his whole like attitude, like referencing the movies, like the whole I can do this all day and never giving up, and like really just striving forward of what he thinks is right. And the idea of it being Captain America, like it's not being a very patriotic thing, quote unquote, or nationalistic thing a long time ago. And like it's more so of what is actually right and what his title should be, as opposed to what it becomes. And you see that unfold in various types of media, whether it be the comics and the TV shows, most recently Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Yeah, and just the era of which it came out as well. I mean, they introduced this character by the cover of the first comic book, him punching Adolf Hitler in the face in the height of World War II.
In the height.
Talk about making an absolute unit of a statement. And it's amazing. I just love how unapologetic it was in that time. And it's like, it's just very representative of just the times, and like not just fighting against tyranny, fighting against the dictator.
Fair.
Yeah, and like and as well as, I mean, we're kind of getting into the psychic thing. He kind of has his own Robin when it comes to Bucky Barnes, because Bucky Barnes, to start off with, was sort of like that sidekick character to Steve Rogers, Captain America. And then later on, still kind of giving the theme of Robin, like becoming the Winter Soldier. That's like his thing, like separating and becoming his own thing.
Yeah.
And so basically just these spawns of what you get with Steve Rogers and what you get with Captain America, and like how it just sprouts off into all of these other characters that are good in their own right as well.
Bucky sort of has a similar storyline to Jason Todd.
Yeah, he really does.
Almost like either kind of dying and being brought back to life, or nearly dying and then being brainwashed, and they both turned into a villain.
And then kind of becoming, I wouldn't call him an anti-hero at this point.
No, but, no. He's a hero now.
Yeah.
But like, wow. Never thought about
that. Parallels. Who would win in a fight? And so just going through the story in the MCU, I adore Steve Rogers of the MCU. Just because like this guy, I mean, okay, so long story short, Frozen goes forward in time. He wakes up in this whole new world. He doesn't know anything that's going on. Like the people who fought in World War II, like his battle buddies are all on their way out because they're very, very old. And so you see that he still cares so much for Sharon Carter. That's his lady. He owes his lady a dance, his whole story through that. And so, and for this to totally unfold in Captain America and the Winter Soldier, just the storytelling of, you see him with Sharon Carter. She's elderly. She's in her 90s at this point, and he's sharing stories with her. It's like, it really just grabs on. Like, he is actually able to somewhat enjoy Sharon Carter because, like, they're sharing memories together. They're sharing all of these things together. But then she has a spell, and you find out that she is suffering from either, whether it be Alzheimer's or dementia. And it's like, he keeps like grabbing at something from his lifetime, and it keeps getting pulled away. And as you see that, you just see just a broken, like, he is giving up at this point. Like, he is really giving up. Like, you see it in his eyes and his whole demeanor change, like as he's restarting the conversation for who knows how many times that he's had to do this. And so that makes it hit so much harder whenever he discovers that Bucky, long lost friend that we thought was dead in the first Avenger, is alive, and he's fighting against him at this point. And so that really sets up why Bucky means so much to him, especially in Civil War. Whenever Sharon Carter does pass, the last thing that Steve Rogers has from his lifetime is Bucky. And that's why he holds on so hard to that. And just so, and like, there's a lot of controversial opinions with everything that happened with Tony Stark's parents and like Bucky playing a part in that, which I get it. I 100% I get where Steve is coming from. I get where Tony's coming from. 100%. But still, like, even and like later on, like whenever we get into Endgame, that final battle of Endgame, it still gives me chills to this day. Of that final stamping point of Steve Rogers wielding Mjolnir, showing that no matter, like, he would have been able to wield him had he been scrawny Steve, had he been small Steve, because it's not that, I mean, that's the whole theme of Captain America. It's not that he's a good soldier, it's that he's a good man. And so being able to have that final moment to show who he is, and just we saw him at his that was his prime moment, and for him to go out the way he did, it's like, you know what, you can't get better, and you can't get a better point from Steve Rogers as that. And so and so even moving on to Sam Wilson, I love and adore Sam Wilson as Captain America as well. He brings something totally new to the table, a whole new, because America, surprise, surprise, is totally different than what it was in 1945.
You don't say.
Right. And so just seeing that whole thing unfold, and like people, I mean, comic book movie fans and comic book fans are always at each other on Twitter. It's a war zone no matter what. It's like, oh, Bucky should have been Captain America first. It's like, that's when we get into the whole, there are so many comics, but there's so many stories to tell. You got to narrow it down somehow. Give Bucky his own thing and let Sam Wilson take over, because rightfully he should have his shield.
They're there at the same time. One of them had to get it. Someone was going to not get it. Just like, it happened, move on.
Exactly. 100%. I'm not going to go too much into costumes, because he did have a lot of variants of costume, but kind of, I don't want to keep comparing him to Batman, but like, it was very much, he had his star, he had the blue stars and stripes. There's different variants of that. The stealth suit, I love the stealth suit. Stealth suit is such an amazing take on the whole whole thing.
Such a good suit.
It really is. And
the shield too.
Yeah, the shield for that one as well.
I didn't know I liked the shield, but I was like,
yeah. So just that person within, that Steve Rogers within, just being the good man that he is, and just seeing it through and just going with what is right, no matter what. He went with what he thought would be right.
Sorry, real quick. That reminds me. I told you I was watching Falcon and the Winter Soldier with my mom. We got to, I think we got through episode 3. When him and Lamar pull up and they're in the Jeep, and and it was Bucky or Sam was like, yes, he's the kind of guy that would dive on a grenade. You ever dove on a grenade? It's like, 3 times actually. I just thought that was such a funny moment. He was like, 3 times actually. I mean, it was with my helmet. It was a whole brace impact. It's anyway.
You had to be there.
Anyway, I just thought that was funny.
No, 100%. I don't want to talk too much about John Walker, if we're being honest. Like, just with that wasn't me cutting you off. That was just me.
No,
like, I mean, John Walker is very much. While they kind of gave like a watered down, different version of John Walker in the series, the John Walker in the comics so much worse than what they gave in the series. Oh gosh, that's a whole thing to get into. But yeah. And a little fun fact that I wanted to put in here because not a lot of people know about it. Did you know that there was a Captain America movie that came out in 1990?
Yes. Yeah.
And I mean, same thing. Very more like Nazi forward with everything.
Even had Red Skull. Even that was.
It had Red Skull. It had, and Red Skull didn't look terrible.
Not
for 1990.
terrible.
Didn't look terrible.
The nose was a choice.
The nose is definitely a choice. And there's a reason I think we don't hear about this version very much. The budget for this movie. Yeah. The budget for this movie was I saw two different ones. I'm gonna go with the one I saw twice. $3 million.
Okay.
1990. Okay.
Oh, let's say for 1990, I feel like it's not bad.
How much box office do you think that this movie raked in?
I don't remember, but I know I've definitely seen like a video about it. But let me. Okay, the number that's coming to me is like 250,000.
Oh, buddy.
Less than that?
Yeah.
Oh no.
So I guess like if I'm saying this correctly in like movie terms, if you just go above breaking even, it's a flop.
Yeah.
Box office standards.
No. It was $3 million though, Aaron.
It was $3 million.
How much did it gross?
They again, there's two sources of this. I'm just gonna go with the one I saw the most.
Yeah.
$30,000.
No, not even close.
Is
how?
I don't.
How?
I don't know if it was because even if it came out at the time, like what big movies came out in 1990? I'm sure there's a lot.
In 90?
1990. Scooby-Doo 2 and Spider-Man 2 came out at the same time.
Yeah.
A big reason why Scooby-Doo 2 did not do as well because it came out.
Well, I'm seeing Home Alone, so already
okay.
Big thing.
Imagine if Captain America flopped because of Home Alone.
It could have. Okay, from highest grossing to lowest grossing, Ghost, Pretty Woman,
of course,
Home Alone, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Hunt for Red October, Total Recall, Die Hard 2, Driving Miss Daisy.
A lot of
Back to the Future Part 3.
Yeah, a lot of great movies came out in 1990.
So many movies. Flatliners, Dances with Wolves, Arachnophobia. Like, come on.
Yeah, so
didn't stand a chance.
Which it released in the UK.
RoboCop 2.
RoboCop 2.
Anyway.
No, it's fine.
Didn't stand a chance.
It didn't stand a chance at all. And it came out in the UK first in 1990. It did not hit the States until 1992.
What?
You're telling me, bud? Why Captain America came out
Captain
in the
America.
UK?
The UK. 2 years.
2 years.
2 years before the American. Wow.
Is beyond me. But imagine what we could have had. Imagine if the Avengers came out in the 90s.
They were close.
That would very close.
They were so close.
Yeah.
I think everyone talks about that at some point, and it was like being brought up. I think like a few years ago, people were like, "Who would be cast as the Avengers in the 90s?" I'll pull it up right now.
Was it Patrick Swayze?
No.
In the 80s, if they made a Spider-Man movie in the 80s, Michael J. Fox, and I will die on that hill.
Yeah, Matt Damon.
Who is that? Matt Damon?
As Steve Rogers.
Oh.
Brad Pitt as Thor.
Okay.
Who is that? Jessica? No, that's not Jessica Chastain. That's Roberts. Julia Roberts.
Yes.
Julia Roberts is ScarJo.
Okay.
I don't know their names, but the guy from X-Files as Bruce, and then Chandler
as Hawkeye.
God,
that's a bad
take. That's a bad take.
I normally am like, you know what? It's subjective. That's
this one's fun. This
take.
Is some. There. Here we go.
Oh, Denzel Washington as Black Panther, 100%. It had Eddie Murphy as Sam Wilson.
Oh, yeah. Okay, here we go. And then some were even like, what about Leo as Captain America? And what about okay, there's your Michael J. Fox.
There we go.
Brendan Fraser is Star-Lord.
Oh, hang on now.
Hang on now.
No? Yes.
Yeah. No, yeah, I'm with you.
You're with it? Okay,
no,
cool.
I'm with you. That's what I'm saying.
Oh, gotcha.
Keanu Reeves as Doctor Strange.
Yes.
That would have been funny.
What happened?
He would have been so young. So young. But Like, we'll look past it.
Yeah.
So anyway, yeah.
Yeah. Like you know what? Things just line up correctly sometimes. And I think that,
this and the MCU lined up.
Yeah. And the fact that, this kind of goes into my number one, which we'll get to that in a minute, but just the way the things played out and the timing of all these superheroes and a lot of them not getting another shot for a long time. I think might have been because of Captain America in 1990. Because Marvel, they had the Hulk TV show. Anyway, and so Marvel didn't really try a lot when it came to stuff like that, and so DC was thriving in the 80s and 90s when it came to
true.
like on-screen
that was
media.
their prime.
Yeah,
that was their prime for sure. They had an early prime.
They really did,
and then now they're trying to salvage.
Honestly, I have high hopes. I you know what? Just from the Suicide Squad and I have high hopes for Batman coming up.
Controversial, but a lot of people. Joker was great.
Yeah.
The Batman, everyone's really excited for.
The Flash movie. Who knows what's going to happen in this Flash movie?
Hopefully, it'll be great.
Yeah,
that's all I can say.
I love how with the Spider-Man theories, we're like, oh yeah, but the Flash is like too many.
Too many things could happen. We don't know.
Do you want to just list off your honorable mentions?
Oh yeah. Give me a second. Okay, I could think of some.
Yeah.
Some honorable mentions. I love Mystique also from the X-Men universe. I'll be honest, half of it, great character. Yeah. Love the powers. Love the look, the color scheme, really nice. The other half of it, I had a crush on Mystique in the X-Men movies when I was younger.
That's valid.
And I think I just thought, I was like, oh, you're really pretty.
Yeah.
So I love Mystique. And then another one, Hit Girl from Kick-Ass.
Oh, I forgot about. We talked about Kick-Ass at the beginning.
Yeah. I thought about it and I was like, oh yeah, she's the thing. I love that it's just this, it's like a Robin character. It's literally it's a parody of Robin, but this little girl, 11, 12, however old she is, slicing dudes to shit just is the coolest thing. I'm like, oh, it's so gross and gruesome, and it's just a really cool idea for the character. I love I talked about Daredevil. I love the Punisher. Punisher's a great character. I loved the 2003 film that was of it, and I loved the character of Punisher in the Daredevil show, and I've started the Punisher show, but I haven't finished it. I'll do that eventually. But I like that. I think those are some honorable mentions I want to share.
Sweet.
What about yourself?
Honorable mentions would be let's see, we got Bucky Barnes.
Yep.
Of course. Just his whole his redemption arc is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
The only other one I wrote down was Deadpool. He was going to be my number 3. I replaced him with Starlight. I love the fact that how fucked up he is and his sense of humor and everything. The moment in Deadpool 2, whenever he is talking to the kid and he's like, "Did he hurt you?" Yeah, no questions asked, just blows the dude's head off.
Yep.
No questions asked. And even in the comic books, whenever he interacts with Spider-Man, he has to go do something dressed as Spider-Man, but he still conceals Peter Parker's secret identity. He still doesn't know that he's Peter Parker. And he does that because it's not meant for me to know. You are not consenting to me. Literally, it says you're not consenting to me knowing who you are. So he covers his eyes, takes off the mask, and replaces the mask, and goes on. Just the fact that he still has that moral compass, of what is there, and it's solid too. It's solid. So
for sure, I like those. Those are good ones. I want us to say our number 1 on 3 because we have the same number 1.
What do you mean?
So 3, 2, 1.
Pauly Shore.
Pauly Shore. Why Pauly Shore? Fuck you. That was so funny. So stupid. It's Pauly Shore. Oh, I hate you. Funny.
Okay, so our number 1s
are
Spider-Man.
Our number 1 is Spider-Man. However, we're going to be rude. We're going to be a little rude to you guys on this one.
Oh, yeah.
We're not going to talk about that here. We have too much to say.
100%. This has gone on so long.
We both have too much to say. And also I know we're going to have a lot to say about Spider-Man. For sure. So we think it's best that we save this for episode 2.
Yeah.
And episode 2 is just going to be Spider-Man episode. And I think that's great because it gets it out of the way because we both know we love Spider-Man.
Yeah, and like there's going to be so much just podcast sexual tension about Spider-Man.
Yes.
And honestly, with No Way Home's coming out soon, it'll be a great just lead up to like what's going on.
Oh,
and
my Lord,
we're going to see that soon.
That'll probably... Well, hopefully that could either come out right before the premiere of that or at least right after.
Yeah.
And then if it comes after, we can put our reactions to...
It'll be topical no matter what.
Yeah. So I think that's a great idea. But I loved this so far. I think we got something good here.
Absolutely. I think a lot of great conversations, a lot of things learned.
Yes.
I think bumps, we plowed through those bumps like the first time because my first time really doing a podcast before.
Okay. Yeah.
I was a guest on a podcast once, but like that was still like I wasn't driving it. So like that was very
Very fair. This will be my 3rd attempted podcast. I hope this one sticks around.
Yeah. Well,
I at least had 1 season of my first podcast, and then I had a great idea for my second one, and I started it, and it just wasn't the right time. I want to start it again at some point. Yeah. But I'm excited for this one. Sweet. I think this one will be really good.
Absolutely. So to close this out, we just want to do a really cool thing just to kind of, whether it be like a recommendation or like a suggestion for all of you, but just asking the question, Aaron, what are you watching now? What are you watching? What are you listening to? What are you reading? Like let the people know.
Well, right now in TV show land, Landon and I are watching Breaking Bad. Landon is my roommate. I watched it originally in high school.
Yep.
I got to season 4 and I stopped.
Wow.
And then because I was binging it, and that was the first time I was like binging stuff.
Okay.
And so I still had to be like, oh, I need a second to like calm down and recoup for a sec. And then I just dropped it and never picked it back up.
Such a heavy show.
It's such a heavy show, but it's so good.
It is.
And I love us watching it together and like going through and remembering like, oh, this happened. And then, or being like, oh my, this is already happening? But I thought this happened way later. And just seeing the progression of it. I think we're about to finish season 2.
Sweet. Going
into season 3. And already things are happening that I'm like, I thought this didn't happen for another season.
Yep.
So I'm loving getting back on that. And then movie-wise, I just watched Mouse Hunt. And I forgot I love that movie. It's a movie from the 90s, and it stars Nathan Lane.
Oh.
And another British actor. Nathan Lane's not British. A British actor.
I think just because he does theater, he's British.
Yes,
like,
he just looks like he'd be British. You know what I'm saying? Lee Evans.
He's the name.
He's a British comedian, and it's a slapstick.
Just looking at the preview right here, it looks amazing.
It's a 90s slapstick cat and mouse game about these guys that acquire this house through their father's will, and they find out there's a mouse living in it who's literally terrorizing them because the mouse doesn't want them in the house. And it's live action. But it's still slapstick, and there's so many gags and bits.
That's beautiful.
It's a great film. We should watch it sometime.
We should.
But I just watched that last night, and I forgot how much I love it.
Sweet.
That's what I'm watching. What are you reading / watching?
Oh gosh. So obviously Hawkeye on Disney Plus. Saw the first episode and you watched the second episode. First one's great. Yeah. Yeah. Again, a lot of rumors circulating around that show as well. Kingpin. He's supposed to be in episode 5. Which, if he is in episode 5, Kingpin, that premieres on Wednesday, and Spider-Man comes out on Thursday. And a big rumor in Spider-Man No Way Home is that Daredevil is supposed to be featured in No Way Home. So if they plan that, hats off.
Excellent.
Hats off.
Hats off. If that's their actual marketing scheme, well done.
Yep.
And then I heard that it's going to be like a doctored up Kingpin.
Yeah. I don't know how I feel about it.
I don't know either, because I don't know what it's going to look like.
Yeah. I think Kingpin from the Daredevil series is fine. I understand they're wanting to go more comic accurate with some things. But I don't think making him which it's going to be CG. I'm going to go ahead and assume if they're going to make him look like the big box that he was in Into the Spider-Verse.
Into the Spider-Verse.
And that's a whole other thing to get into because I'm very much practical over CGI when it comes to effects. And it feels unneeded. It really does.
Fair. It's one of those where, I mean, they were able to do Thanos.
Yeah.
And it pulled off well.
I know, but just that thought in the back of my head of like anytime that like Daredevil's going to like beat up Wilson Fisk, like it's going to be the actor with a fucking
styrofoam
on
ball.
his head. Like it just, I don't know. It really, I don't just because like then I love good fight choreography. I think it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's.
No, it's very fair.
Yeah. Yeah.
I guess we'll see.
For sure. Other than that, I just started Arcane, League of Legends.
Oh,
new animated show that came out on Netflix.
That's where the character Jinx is from. Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
I have not met Jinx yet.
Okay.
It's very. First episode is very like. Not bare minimum, but very much like setting up what's going to happen later on, as TV shows naturally work.
That's part of it.
But honestly, the animation is amazing. Something I noted from this sort of thing is a lot of the time in animated films, if somebody gets beat up, you see them in the next scene and they're fine. But the continuity is a big thing in the show as well, where like if somebody tripped and fell in the dirt smudge is still on them for the remaining of everything until they wash it. And so that's something it's a very like detail that I really love about the show so far.
For an animated show? Yeah,
yes.
That's a very good attention to detail.
Mm-hmm. And the choreography as well in I say choreo. Well, I mean, yeah, it's choreo still. In the fights that happen in this show is just so good. Just the dynamic between like all the characters. It's very good. It was recommended to me by a friend, and I'm enjoying it so far. So I need to continue.
I've heard good things, and I've seen it a few times across my Instagram feed. So I've been like wondering if I wanted to start it because I didn't know what it was.
Yeah,
I just like know of it, but I might have to check that out.
Yeah. I think it
look really cool.
I think it's very much set up in the way of if you know what League of Legends is and you're familiar with it, I'm sure it is a very enhanced experience.
Mm-hmm.
But if you don't know what it is, you still enjoy it.
Fair.
You still enjoy it, and you're still introduced. Yes,
sweet,
100%.
That's really cool.
Thank you so much for tuning into the first episode of Double A's Batteries Not Included. And join us next week for the next episode where we talk about
Spider-Man.
Whip.
Ew.